Hi, I'm Ralph Woodward. This is my colleague Bridget Hardy, and we are lucky enough to be performing Schubert's Die Schöne Müllerin in Cambridge, England on April the 27th, 2019. So we're just going to talk today about one particular aspect of the piece and I suppose of our performance of it, namely the fact that, as you may notice, Bridget is female, and the song cycle is normally sung by tenors, and certainly that was the case in Schubert's lifetime as well. So we talked a lot about whether this was going to work when sung by a woman. Now Bridget's going to talk about one or two of the sort of gender issues in a minute, but for me there's a couple of things that make it okay. One is that we know that Schubert himself accompanied female singers in at least some of these songs during his lifetime, so he had no kind of purist objection. The obvious difference is that a woman has a higher voice than a man, and therefore Bridget sings the melody an octave higher than a tenor would. But to me, that in some cases actually improves the harmony and the way the voice and the piano part relate. So, let's try something risky, namely, shall we perform a little bit with... Do you want to do it first?
Yeah.
I'll go from there. So here's a little bit of the 16th song, Die Liebe Farbe. Bridget is going to sing. We'll just do the first phrase, and then after that something horrible is going to happen.
In grün will ich mich kleiden, in grüner Tränen weiden.
I'll leave you hanging mid-phrase there. So, I think that sounds quite nice. We're now going to try it. This is an unfair comparison because we're going to try swapping places. And Bridget is going to play the piano, which is never all that great.
That's rude.
And I'm going to try singing it. So I'll be singing it obviously in a horrible voice, which I'm adopting especially for the film. And Bridget's going to play the piano. So I'm going to be doing it an octave lower than Bridget was. See what you think.
Okay.
In grün will ich mich kleiden, in grüne Tränen weiden. Well, what do you think? Leaving aside the fact that my voice is horrible, for me, I'm just going to play you now the voice part and the piano part together. When Bridget sings it, it sounds like this. Sounds nice. At my octave, which I think actually, for me, doesn't sound any better, and arguably sort of twists the harmony into slightly unexpected inversions. Now, this is not to say that I'm sort of dissing the performance of this by a tenor, but I think there are some places where it actually does work slightly better in Bridget's octave. Crucially, it's worth noting, we do perform these songs in their original keys. Now, again, no disrespect to some wonderful singers. You know, Roddy Williams has been performing these songs recently at a slightly lower pitch, and no disrespect. And we know that Schubert was prepared to do that. He wrote out transposed versions of some of these songs. For me, if you transpose it very much, you start to get a slightly unfortunate kind of muddiness in the piano part. So for instance, I'm just going to play the start of number 4. This is just the introduction. So that's deliberately, Schubert's put that deliberately in a sort of warm, cello-ish part of the instrument. Now if you do that down a tone, it's still sort of alright. It does change the character, and if you do it down another tone, it's really quite muddy. For me, that starts not working so well. So we're certainly doing them in the original key, but I think it works beautifully, and I think the way Bridget's voice is able to sort of soar over the piano part is often really wonderful. So, Bridget, do you have some thoughts on gender?
Yeah, well, yeah, thank you for that. But of course, it also ties up with this concept of there's a great history of young male roles being sung by women. certainly in the opera world. So whilst of course this is not opera, if you think about something like Cherubino in Mozart's Marriage of Figaro, is sung by normally a young mezzo. It's a male
Sometimes
character.
quite old mezzos.
Fair enough, if they can do it. And even, you know, much more recently, Richard Strauss's Der Rosenkavalier, for example, Octavian. And I think the gender shouldn't really be a stumbling block, any more than the fact that you could say I'm not an Austrian mill worker from 1820. I'm a firm believer in, this is going to sound a bit pretentious, but the music and the art speaks for itself. The performers are just the channel, if you like.
Very nice.
Okay.
So we're going to play you now a little excerpt of us rehearsing the cycle, and this is part of Des Müllers Blumen, in which the miller is comparing the blue flowers with the eyes of his beloved. So this is a happy point in the cycle, very beautiful I think, so I hope you enjoy it.